Don't get me wrong, I love traveling in our RV, seeing the out-of-the-way places, staying for as little or as long as we want, but it can be a lot of hard work, and sometimes you want to see places you can't even get to in your RV. In this series of episodes, we'll take you to our favorite destination so far, at least the most spectacular, Alaska. Yes, we want to drive to Alaska eventually, but with time and family obligations, it's not going to happen this year. For us, it's an 8,000 mile plus commitment, but nothing says we can't scout out some locations and eat some great food along the way. How do we do that? Well, the same way about 1 million people a year visit the last frontier, we can take a cruise. RV life demands a bit of additional planning for a cruise. What do we do with our rig for several weeks? What do we do with our truck? What do we do with Wesley, our Great Dane? Okay, first we needed to find a cruise. I really like the website Vacations to Go. They have great deals and a 90-day deal ticker, which even has better deals. Luckily, we have a place to park our RV in northern Idaho with friends, so that takes care of that. But if you don't have that luxury, some RV parks offer storage options, and an internet search will give you other options for short-term and long-term parking and storage. It's a long day's drive from northern Idaho to Seattle or Vancouver, whichever one we'll decide to go out of, but it's doable. We chose Princess Cruises because we had taken them before, and because they're also one of only a handful of cruise lines allowed to sail the gem of Alaska, Glacier Bay National Park. If you only have one chance to see Alaska, make sure you see Glacier Bay. It is only accessible by boat or ship or seaplane, and there are no words to describe the beauty and wonder of the place. Another tip is to look at cruise lines' one-way trips. Sometimes cruise lines give you a deal if you put together 2 of their one-way trips and take the cruise as a round trip. Princess had such a deal, which turned a 7-day cruise into 14 days and allowed us to visit several ports twice, which gave us twice the time to experience them. This particular cruise was on the Majestic Princess, a large ship with over 3,500 guests and over 1,300 crew. She sailed from Vancouver, British Columbia. So now how do we get there? Well, our first inclination was to fly out of Spokane. Flights to Seattle were reasonable, but this cruise was going out of Vancouver, and once you crossed the border, plane flights became prohibitively expensive. And we'd have to drive to Spokane and still pay to park our car for 2 weeks while we were gone. There's a website called Park Sleep Fly, which when you purchase a night in a hotel, they allow you to leave your vehicle in the hotel parking lot for the duration of your cruise. We had used this once before with success, so we booked a room at a hotel near SeaTac Airport, booked a Princess transfer from the airport to the Vancouver terminal with Princess. Now, why do we do this? Well, this way, you get across the border and they guarantee an on-time arrival for the cruise. If they get delayed at the border, the ship waits for you. If you get delayed at the border in your car, nobody's waiting for you. This money-saving idea ended up costing us money in the long run, but I'll tell you why later on. Our final issue? Wesley. Karen's sister graciously agreed to dog sit Wesley while we were gone. So we buttoned up our RV, parked it and the truck in our friend's barn, and we have a car there that we store at our friend's property for when we're in the area, so we decided to take the old Subaru Outback, left early on Thursday morning for our Saturday departure. The trip across Washington State was beautiful but uneventful. The next morning we made our way to SeaTac to catch our Princess coach, and in several hours' time we had crossed the border and were ready to check in at the cruise terminal. itinerary on the Majestic Princess took us to the inside passage ports of Ketchikan, Juneau, Skagway, Whittier, as well as Icy Strait Point outside of Juneau, Alaska. It also included scenic cruising, which, by the way, you can't see from an RV, and that took us by several glaciers and culminated in this spectacular Glacier Bay National Park. Some ports we got to visit twice. Now, we've been on Alaskan cruises before and took a lot of expensive excursions. This time, we were on a budget, and so we decided to see what we could see on foot. Each stop was very walkable and very beautiful. Our first stop and last stop was Ketchikan. Juneau, Alaska's capital, was our next, and it was also our next to last stop. Our trips in the past have included renting a car and heading to the end of the road, taking an epic bike tour, and of course, visiting Mendenhall Glacier. By the way, The Mendenhall Glacier area is very walkable and accessible. You can take an expensive cruise tour, find a bus leaving from the dock for about $30 to $40 round trip, or take public bus 3, 4, or 8 for only $2 each way. But you need to note that the public bus stops about 1.2 miles from the visitor center, so there is a bit of a walk from the bus stop to the visitor center. But this year, we took the Gold Belt tram to the top of Mount Roberts and hiked the trail to Father Brown's Cross, about 2,050 feet in elevation, for a spectacular view of Juneau and the Gastineau Channel. The cross commemorates the work of Jesuit priest Father Brown, who built the trail in 1908 with a group of volunteers. We also hiked to Cope Park, a very picturesque park above the government buildings in the downtown area.
I don't like that you can see through the stairs. Don't look down.
I'm okay.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm talking to myself then.
Okay. There she is. I'm gonna stay here and she's gonna hike into the wilderness of Alaska. There we are.
We are. So excited.
Is that what we are? Excited?
Wow, look at that.
That would be cold.
No kidding.
Okay, thank you.
Here we are.
Where are we going?
I don't know.
Skagway.
Oh yeah, Skagway.
She hasn't had anything to drink this morning.
No.
Not as far as I know.
Coffee.
rough seas in Skagway today.
Even though the ship docks in Skagway, we had to take a tender from the end of the dock to the beginning of the dock because there had been a recent landslide which made walking the dock dangerous. This was the shortest tender ever. Skagway was the gateway to the Yukon and Klondike Gold Rush. It is a town with a lot of sordid history. There are many great things to do, including riding the railroad up to the Canadian border. But we were hiking this trip, so we visited downtown, walked around, and then the visitor center. And then started walking the 2.5 miles to the end of town and the Gold Rush Cemetery. By the way, if you're hiking, there's also a trail that leads several miles to the ghost town of Daia and Yakutania Point. And if you go the other direction, you can hike up a more challenging trail which takes you to Upper and Lower Dewey Lake. Whittier, Alaska is fascinating and walkable. During World War II, it was a secret military base as it was mostly covered in fog and clouds and hard to spot from the air. Its deep water port never freezes. To access the port, you needed to either hike over the mountains or take a ship. So, a 2.5-mile tunnel was bored through the mountains and was completed in 1943.
When the morning breaks, we won't hesitate. It's the first day, it's the first page. Our story starts here. Our story starts here. Before our eyes, now we find it all becomes so clear. Our story starts here.
A large condominium dominates the skyline, and most of the town's residents actually live in this one big building. Thanks for watching. Next week, we focus on the spectacular glacier viewing only available from the deck of a ship. We sail by the glaciers of College Fjord, then the massive Hubbard Glacier, and spend 2 days sailing through the unique and scenic Glacier Bay National Park. We also hurl down a mountain for over a mile on a zip line. Oh, and we get our car window smashed and our stuff stolen. Yep, it's not all a bed of roses in the RV life. You don't want to miss it. Make sure you press the thumbs up button to like this episode. And subscribing not only helps us share Are We There Yet with others, it makes it possible for us to bring you more adventures. Ring the bell so you get notified of new episodes. We read all of your comments and enjoy your feedback. Have you done the drive to Alaska? Do you have any tips or pearls of wisdom? Just leave them in the comments. For Karen, Wesley, and myself, we wish you happy travels. See you next time.
Our story starts here.